let's talk about route planning. Because you got to know how to get there. A great place to start was with Google Maps. If you don't already know, you can see here on this sort of orange circle, when you ask for directions to Google Maps, there is a bike option, and it'll give you a different route, assuming that you're on a bike, which is really great. You can see in this example, coming from Capitol Hill to South Lake Union, Amazon Day 1, it was actually a faster bike ride than it was a car ride at like 347. That makes a lot of sense. Downtown's crazy at 347. More efficient. Remember that one. Google Maps is a great way to start off, but there's lots of other sort of ways to find that out because Google's doing great and they've actually gotten a lot better over the years, but they're not always perfect. A couple other ways to think about it is try your work route on like a weekend or a holiday before you go in for real. Do a practice commute before a real commute. So then you get your route figured out. I think that'll also really help with just the stress. Make a day out of it. Go get a coffee by the office or something, Especially, if you live in a downtown, there's lots of stuff to do downtown on a weekend. I think that's a great way to use your time and just kind of make sure that your first commute is stressful or those commutes are a little less stressful. In general, take side streets, avoid roads with heavy car traffic. As a rule, I don't like to bike on roads with more than 2 lanes of car traffic. If there's 4 lanes of car traffic, that's probably too much car traffic, and they're probably going like 40, 50 miles an hour, and I don't want to be around that. A lot of times there are better, paths that you can take as a bike to avoid those routes. A really cool way to find those routes is you can use some of the bike tracking apps like Strava and Ride with GPS. And they have heat maps. These are the two big like exercise and commuter apps that folks use. And they sort of keep track of where people are going in your city. And you see this is a heat map here on the right, where people use their bikes the most. And so you might be able to find a path that maybe Google isn't telling you about, or that's not the most obvious because, oh, but all of these other bike commuters in my area are using this path. It can be really great. Another cool thing that Strava has is they have a little checkbox. If you record your rides on Strava and you at the end you say this was a commute, it'll tell you how much carbon you saved on that ride, and that'll accrue over the year. And then you can brag to all your coworkers about how much carbon you saved compared to them, and they're going to hate you for it, but you're going to be cool. Finally, let's check out the transit app. This is I was talking with some bike people the other day, and there's this. I've never used this app until recently. It's a really cool app, specifically for for bikes specific, but also for multimodal stuff. So if you're using your bike in addition with a bus or a train, this transit app has that all built in really, really well. And you can sort of do it. There's sliders. I want to bike more. I want to bike less. I want to train more. I want to train less. Really cool app for your more complicated things, and also just for biking in general if you want to get into that. So play a lot. You got a lot of options. Play around, but ultimately get out there and go try it out on a weekend, so that you don't get too stressed out for that big 10 a.m. meeting that you're trying to navigate some strange place. Finally, hey, sometimes stuff will go wrong, so you do want to make sure you have a backup plan. You might get a flat tire, maybe your chain will fall off, or something like that, and you're not going to be able to make it in. And that can be really stressful, especially if you got, work stuff. So that's why you want to make sure that you plan ahead. So maybe you have a friend that you can call who's got a car, a big enough car, maybe a friend with a bike rack that they can come pick you up. You have public transit, like we said, you have that local transit app, that transit card, so that you can maybe just lug it on to the next bus stop and ride it the rest of the way in, and then figure out how to fix the bike later. Or worst case scenario, you brought your lock with you, so you can lock it up somewhere relatively safe in public view, not in some secluded place, and then just Uber in, get to work, and then go back and pick up your bike later. So those are all great options for backup transportation plans. But think about it. Think about your route, what makes the most sense for you.